Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial, and in this one we are going to draw an eagle, and you can decide whether you want to draw this in black and white. But for this tutorial I will be using pastel pencils and explaining about it that it's quite easy to work with them. So let's have a look on what we're going to do. And for this one I'm going to use my own drawing as an example. And for the setup I will be using a white pastel pencil. For the setup it is the best way to start with the nose, the beak itself. And it's, well, kind of a funny shape actually. It is that pointy beak, and because the eagle is looking straight at us, it is quite easy because you can mirror draw if you like. So this is the beak with the lips actually that are at the side. And oh yeah, also I'm using a dark gray paper for this. And I need to put in a layer of white, and that is the basic for my drawing, and later on I can go over that. Once you have the funny shape in for the beak, you can decide where the eyes are going to be. And you have to draw in this very specific line that is very important for the way an eagle looks at you. Now for the iris, I also place in an under layer of white. Once you have this, you can start putting in the layer for the feathers themselves. And what you do is actually place in little pieces of white that do not quite attach to each other. So the paper itself shines through a little bit. And I do that also next to the nose and underneath the eyes. Also underneath the beak itself, I put in the feathers, simple shapes of white that do not connect to each other. So I keep open spaces between them, and you actually do need a lot of white also inside the eyes for the irises, so please keep that in mind. These are the tops of the nostrils that we are going to draw later on. And now it is time to shift to the black pastel. Now this black I actually use to blend together the white and the black, so kind of the shadows between the feathers, and also on the beak itself and inside the nostrils. I decide where the darkest shadows are. It is so nice the way that pastel works. And maybe you think, well, that's not for me, it's too difficult and I cannot work that. Well, please don't think that. Pastel is a very nice and easy way to learn to draw, and it works splendidly for you, and you can shift it around just like when you were oil painting. If you do something wrong, you can easily go over it with the pastel and correct everything you want. And in the meantime, I'm putting in a light yellow for the under layer of the nose. And here I'm using a mid brown for the tip of the beak and a little bit on top of the nose. And this is a very light yellow. And you can see I'm paying a lot of attention to that beak. And for the feathers itself, I'm using a light green to put in shadow color in the white feathers. Green is an excellent shadow color, and I place that in between the open spaces of the whites and the blacks. Here is an example of how easy it is to use pastels. I simply go over it with a white and then put in some highlights. For the eyes itself, I'm zooming in now. And I'm using the yellow over the white. The eyes also are very important. And here I'm putting in the highlight on top of the eye. Then shifting over to the pinch black pastel. And for the pupil itself, I color around that white dot and make the pupil itself really black. So I make sure everything attaches together, and in that way I get that peering look and the blackness of that pupil, and slowly but certainly the eye is coming alive. I also use the black around the iris and for the darkest, deepest points in the corner of the eye and also around the eye, and also for the entrance of the nose. You can see they are a bit crooked here, and I can easily shape it around as much as I want to make them look even. So that is how easy pastel will work for you. Okay, next color. I'm using a soft pink, and I use that inside the eye to give it an extra shine. For the side of the beak, I'm using a yellow now. It is so nice to see how those colors will blend together. And here I'm putting in a red kind of brown. And I simply place it over all the layers that I've already put in there. Here, a dark gray for the tip of the beak that is bending around. You can see how marvelous the pastel will work for you. And what is also very important is to not let that eye pop out all light, but put in that extra shadow that is just underneath the eyebrow. So put in a dark shadow and only leave the light on the lower half of the eye itself. I'm using the same dark gray to draw in the entrance of the beak. And once you are this far, it is time to put in some rough areas of white and then start fading these out. I blur it out so you get the appearance like when you are making a picture and the focus is all in the middle, while the surroundings are fading out. This way you get a kind of a photorealistic effect, and it's also making your drawing more interesting to look at for, well, when you are showing it to friends or family, whatever. Here you can see that also I'm putting in shadows and then blurring these out with my finger, and I also apply that around the beak itself so that it really stands out, and you get that great feel of a 3D effect and extra realistic effect. The lower half of my drawing I want to appear darker than the top half of my drawing. So I simply ease in a little bit of dark gray and blend it together. And what I also want to share is that I've noticed, and I'm not drawing with pastel that long also, that the sharpening of pastel pencils can be a real pain, and so I'm putting in an extra video for sharpening your pastel pencils. So this is actually fun to do, and I wish you all the luck and success with it. And also please watch maybe some other tutorials of mine with praying birds, and also check out the sharpening of your pastel pencils should you consider starting to draw with pastel pencils, and I can really recommend it to you. See you next time, and good luck.